Welcome to Business Coaching Secrets with Karl Bryan. If you want to attract new high-end coaching clients, fill live events, and build a wildly profitable coaching practice where business owners pay, stay, and refer, you've come to the right place. In this podcast, Karl provides his keys to the kingdom for finding and signing high-paying clients and building the coaching business of your dreams. Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, coaches around the world, welcome to another episode, Business Coaching Secrets, with the man, the myth, the coaching legend, the Loch Ness of business coaching, or should I say the Ogopogo, for those in the know. If you know, you know, Dr. Karl Bryan. Welcome to the show.
Road dog, how goes it?
I'm
Caveat,
good.
I am not a doctor, but let's little better introduction than you gave me on the pre-show.
The more I say it, the more it's believed. So if you start believing it in your heart that you really are a doctor of business, then perhaps you would actually believe it and just accept who you are, Karl. Just accept it. It's who you are. I don't know why you fight it, but you do.
Did you know, Road Dog? Did you know that I was going to go to Harvard?
What? Okay.
They didn't, but they didn't ask me.
There you go. Hello. Okay. Wow. Yeah. Had me there, not gonna lie, for about 5 seconds, and I'm like,
My dad. So I got to give Skinny a shout out, Road Dog, because my dad used to say that when hockey came up. Whenever I'd bring a buddy over, my dad would always say that. He'd say, "Oh yeah, I was going to play for the Toronto Maple Leafs." I'm like, "Oh, what? You were going to play?" He goes, "Yeah, but they never asked me." And then of course everybody would laugh, and I'd sit there going, "Dad, like, come on, man, like again, right? Again? That's like the 105th time you've said that."
that's
So,
the beauty about
there
dad
you go.
jokes.
Good opening.
Dad jokes never get old. And you know what? You'll be doing the same thing to Sage. I guarantee it. And you, of all people, will laugh the loudest every time like it's the first time you told the joke. And she's going to be like, oh my God, who is this guy? It's going to be amazing. And I'll be right there with you, Shoots. I'll be laughing, not quite as hard as you, but I'll be there. I got your back. So there you go. Hey, speaking of laughing, so sometimes I get questions and I'm like, what? So like I don't know. Do you have a twin that wrote this, or like I'm trying to figure this out? Because here's the question: what are some examples of cognitive biases you favor to help coaching clients with? And like, listen, if you're gonna answer this and tell me you're not a doctor, you got like seriously, like this is a heavy duty question right here, Shoots, and I don't even know what it means. So I'm hoping you can explain the question and then answer it for me. That would be super helpful. So again, what are some examples of cognitive biases you favor to help coaching clients with? I don't even know where to start with that.
Okay. There we go. That's a great question, Road Dog. What's the problem? Yeah, we do have, we got some we talk about Harvard and joke around. We got some high level we get some real doctors with PhDs that are tuning in to our diatribe, Road Dog. So there you go. But so I better answer this. Cognitive biases I favor. I don't know. We talk about this all the time. I think what I would look if I don't know. It's not about cognitive. It's more about situational than it is cognitive biases I favor, I dare say. So maybe as a frame, and everybody, I'd love frames this, frame that. But as a frame, what I do is like there's different types. So that might be more important. Like, look, what do I mean? There's memory-based. I don't know how many there are, right? Memory-based cognitive biases. There's belief-based cognitive biases. Politically based, and never more so than today, politically based, money based. Probably the biggest one I would dare say, memory, social based, a monster one, and then learning based. So maybe if we were to break those down, like memory, if you think something is worth remembering, you move it from your conscious into your subconscious mind, right? So your shorter to your long-term memory might be, easier for people to kind of pick up. But no doubt you can see the pluses and minuses of that, right? Like again, remember, like moving something from your conscious to subconscious, because what if it was incorrect? So that would be memory. Belief. There's things that you believe, Road Dog believes, I believe, they believe, your parents believe, your kids believe, your grandkids believe to be true. Uh, but these things, like, they're not rooted in any way, shape, or form in actual reality. So some people truly believe that money is the root of all evil, would be an example. Well, without meeting that individual, that's going to adjust the way that they operate. So again, so versus cognitive biases that I would favor, I'd say like situationally, I'd want to get to the core, to the foundation, to the root of what was going on. So again, if somebody thinks money is the root of all evil, they're going to have a bit of a challenging time in a capitalistic system growing a business, right? Or someone believes in God, it'll adjust the way that they see things versus somebody that does not. Or maybe a good one, Road Dog, is when someone believes that things happen for a reason, right? Like the most religious countries in the world, the most religious cultures of the world, are also the poorest. Okay, why? Because they just assume that, look, in another life, I'm going to be, well off. That'll be my time. And they're not willing. Like we talk about the stars lining up. What I like to think about is pushing those bloody stars in alignment. Now that's a good use of your time, right? So I think like things when somebody thinks and believes that things happen for a reason, it could totally adjust the way that they see and act and respond to individual situations. And then there's political, and I'm not talking about Democrats and Republicans, or depending upon where you live in the world, right? They're named different things, but political parties. Think more like, think office politics, maybe like interactions of groups of people where they're trying to achieve power. Now, maybe like politics is like about projections and persuasion, right? So the arena of projections and persuasion. An example, the assumption that the Green Party are 100% against capitalism and all about hugging trees, right? Again, categorically untrue. But to someone who's, a hardcore Republican, they just put them in that category. And as soon as they hear that you support the Green Party, they put you in a certain basket politically, and anything you say is immediately skewed with that. Well, probably not. You know what I mean? Not such a great idea. Money based. The number one predictor of crime in a specific area is what do you call it? Like the wealth differential. Like there's poor and rich people in a specific neighborhood. It's going to have a higher crime rate than having everybody on, like a gated community as an example. One of the reasons, it's not the gates, it's the fact that everybody inside there is on semi uh, even keel, and that stops the crime, right? So, and you might want to consider that when you buy a home, by the way, as talking about frames. Um, you know, well, actually, money based, as I think about that, like when somebody we've all seen or know of, and you might be one of them, but you think that someone who has lots of money, they've got it all worked out, everything must be amazing. And oh my gosh, how could they have depression? How could they be unhappy? How could they be, crying in their Cheerios when, they've got lots of money and disposable income? Right. So, and by the way, if you want to feel wealthy, just add up all the things that money can't buy. I think we know we'd all be incredibly wealthy. I know Tony Robbins has been talking about this lots. He's launching his new book, and he says that a man with his health, something like this, but a man with his health has 100 dreams, but the man without his health has one. Right? Think about that. A man with his health has 100 dreams, but the man without his health has one. And hopefully you're getting that to get his health back, by the way, is his one dream. And then look, social based is the one like that. People think greed runs the world. The truth is envy runs the world. Well, that's more the OGs, by the way, the original gangster of mental models, Charlie Munger, that's his opinion. And I believe Warren Buffett also shares that, right? Where envy really rules the world. And just social pressure. We've all felt it. It can be a mean, unforgiving drug, whether it's smoking in high school, maybe it's buying the BMW to keep up with the Joneses, and specifically the one you can't afford or shouldn't be affording. could be, trying drugs, drinking to fit in, right? And then what happens is it spirals accidentally, right? Like nobody starts with a goal of becoming a drug addict, right? It's never ever happened and never going to happen. It's not the goal, right? It happens, and it all started with social pressure, right? So Road Dog, I think, did I cover them all? Oh, there's a learning. So learning based, Jim Rohn will tell you to stand guard of your mind, right? People accidentally learn ridiculously stupid stuff that's categorically wrong. I guess this kind of plays in to memory, but it like maybe it's crypto. Like some people just like on the crypto train, and it's like it's going to take over the world. And the truth is, it's not going to just take over the world, right? The governments aren't going to allow that to happen. That being said, I think it's here to stay in some form or another. You'd be crazy not to keep your eye on it. But the mistake that people make is they look at the price of Bitcoin, and that is categorically stupidest thing you can do. What you really should be doing is, well, I take that back, not the stupidest, but the price of Bitcoin is not going to dictate, whether it's adopted. It's the regulation around crypto that will tell you what's going to happen in the future, right? So that's something, you know what I mean? But again, it's a higher level mental model, looking at the price of Bitcoin versus having a look at the regulation behind it. No doubt you can see how that's a higher level of thinking. And some people just think that people are evil because they've been portrayed that way. Like there's a 1 minute clip, and then you see a 5 second soundbite of the 1 second that's totally taken out of context. And you think, oh my gosh, this is the worst human being ever, right? That guy, that gal, they're brutal. Great examples of this all over with, the vaccine and the vaccine passport and COVID and certainly mask wearing, etc. It's just some people don't have the whole story. Anyway, so people just they learn things that are untrue, and then they take them and place them in their memory and their subconscious mind. Not such a great idea. So Road Dog, I don't know, I might be making a meal of this one, but like cognitive biases that I favor, I think is the way it was worded there. I'd look more situationally, and then versus look at the individual situation, look at the higher level, um, cognitive frame that it would come from. I think that might provide some value. At the end of the day, the goal is to help your clients think at a higher level. Think delayed gratitude, like the ultimate, like what you really want to be able to do is you want to be able to have conflicting thoughts in a specific area, right? So that's a Republican being able to be in favor of some Democratic stances. That's somebody being pro-vax but being anti-vax passport. That's it's a bunch of different examples, but being able to have like a conflicting opinion on something, on an individual topic, that's the way that you'll get there is by using these higher level models. And your clients, it's not about Road Dog, me and you, it's about your clients, helping them. And I assure you, 95 to 98% predictability. They're not thinking this slowly. They're not stopping and thinking before they're reacting and using an emotion to drive themselves forward, backwards, or to the next thing. There you go, Road Dog. What do you think? Help?
Okay, let's go a little more granular. Okay, like because that's all great. That's pretty general stuff, and that's good. But can you give us some examples of actual biases that you think dominate, or I'll give you an out, or that you'd suggest they understand at a higher level? You talked about a higher level, right? It's all about getting to think at a higher level. Yeah. So what do you think are the dominant ones? Yeah. And then what do you suggest that they understand at a higher level?
Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah. Okay. Good point. What urgency bias? First one that would come to mind, like your tendency to respond to whatever is urgent versus what is important. Also to discount future payoffs versus an immediate result, right? Think chocolate versus broccoli. Here it is in a sentence. What is urgent is seldom going to be what's most important, right? Like urgent and important are two very different things and seldom the same, right? So someone else's, there's a saying, again, someone else's lack of planning does not constitute an emergency for you, right? So you probably heard that, but are you living it? Again, as you're looking through your emails, your text, your phone calls, your correspondence, are you stopping and thinking, raising up and going, hang on a minute, is this, you know what I mean? Am I getting sucked into something that might not have the highest level of importance for me? and maybe it is, but stop and think before you decide. Urgency, loud urge bias, a smoker, like a smoker who's standing somewhere and then someone else is smoking and then they can smell it. It's going to make that person crave a cigarette. But like Road Dog and I don't smoke, so you can be smoking close to us. We can smell your smoke. It's actually annoying to us. And the last thing that it's going to do is make me feel like I want to have a cigarette, right? Or a gym junkie, right? Like Road Dog's religious at going to the gym. He's going to be on holidays and somebody's going to walk out of a gym and that's going to make him want to go to the gym versus the smoker, the guy who doesn't go to the gym, he's not going to have that same desire, right? So that's kind of like loud urge bias. It's a tendency to give more energy, more focus to things that are prominent, loud, I guess a loud urge, and then ignore subtle and consistent changes over the long haul. Consistency being the key that provide a substantially greater result over a long haul, right? Like, look, a business example. A sales type individual will look for new clients versus helping an existing one. And then an analytical non-salesman will be more inclined to help his existing clients and give them a higher level of babysitting than go try attract a new client, right? Because the urge is greater, right? Because it's something they're not favorable. Or, by the way, building a growth loop that takes time and energy versus a sexy Facebook ad campaign. I've talked about growth loops in the past. Something, if you don't understand growth loops, you should probably look it up. Think of a referral program on steroids. That's the way Hotmail, Facebook, Gmail was adopted through a growth loop. Airbnb, Uber. So they've all got growth loops built within them. But again, just think Facebook is like the poster child for it. So that would planning fallacy. What is that? Like, we totally underestimate how long it will take to accomplish something. The flagship example of this is the Sydney Opera House, where it took 10 years. Yes, 10 years long. I used to live in Australia, by the way. Took 10 years longer and about $100 million over, like, more than budgeted. And the reason, if you look into it, it's because the government insisted on them starting before the actual plans were 100% drawn up, despite a lot of pushback, but they went forward. And the Sydney Opera House literally, it took 10 years. I don't know what those numbers are, but it was like a decade longer than it was supposed to. And it's a very famous story in Australia. And so that, again, just planning follow. They just didn't, they didn't plan properly. Before you built the golf course, if you started building it without the plans, you're going to have a mess. If you were going to build a house and you did it before you had a plans, you're going to build a house. I believe that in business, you got 7 big swings maximum. And the reason why is that there's 7, like, it's going to take you 5 to 7 years to really make something work. And nobody ever thinks they're going to start a business and then, wow, in 5 years, I'm going to be really crushing it. They picture themselves crushing it in, 3, 6, 9, 12 months, 2 years kind of max. And if you look at it and forget what I think, just look at the body of work and how long it took Microsoft and Facebook and Amazon and, Uber operated in San Francisco alone for like 3 years. Might have been 2, but I think it was 3 years before they left just San Francisco, right? So Uber, we think of it as this unbelievable success story that just went from 0 to 60 immediately. And that, if you really look at it, that's not the case. It was I believe it was 5 years before you could really say that they hit it and they had network effects working in their favor. So, Road Dog, another one, greedy. I don't know what it's called. I think it might be called greedy algorithm. It's short-term excitement over long-term benefit. Again, chocolate bar versus, which a lot of mental models tend to have this same delayed gratification, chocolate bar versus broccoli. But like a business frame would be a traveling salesman will always go to the next unvisited city. They don't look to solve a problem. They don't look to go to the best city or the best area or they'll make the most sales. They go to the next unvisited city naturally. Well, think as a business coach, how that might, are you going to the next networking function? Are you just going on the pre-show? We were talking a lot about BNI, and then one of our guys, he's like literally set up his own version. Like he's got his own networking group going up, and he's busier than he can possibly handle. And he's got all kinds of coaching clients, and he's using the group coaching software. And that's, you know what I mean? Like it's harder work. Going to take he didn't just go to a networking group and the next networking group because it was available, because it was there, right? It was like, hang on a second, how can I solve a problem both for myself and locally, do a better networking group that I think will be better? I'll be in charge. I'll do a better job. I'll bring a higher level of visitor. I'm going to solve a problem here. And then by default, it's going to take me some time, 3, 6, 9, 12 months. But in the end, if I do a good job, I'm going to have more people showing up than ever. Right. And then we also talked about having I think we talked about this recently, Road Dog, but like on Friday, having a party at your house every Friday for your business coaching company. The way that conversation started was with a business shower. So think baby shower, but a business shower. The only problem with that is that, how often does a baby shower happen? Once. What's the worst number in business? 1. So that's okay. Maybe do 1, maybe do 2, maybe do 3, maybe do them in a couple of different cities. But a baby shower, a business shower doesn't have a natural extension to it for me. Maybe it does that I haven't seen, but I wouldn't do the business. The business shower. I'd want a better strategic, the planning policy. I would want to have a better frame, a better plan, a better recurring model than a one-off dealio for my business coaching company. So what we talked about is having a party on Friday. And then one of the questions she asked is, would you do it in my house? Is that a good idea? And the answer is abso-stinkin-lutely. Part of which is because you're so much more comfortable in your own home. In fact, my dad, skinny, funny son of a guy. I have to interview him one day, Road Dog. But anyways, funny guy. And well, not that this is all that funny, but he says, I met both. He's been married twice. And, my mom and then my stepmom, both of whom have passed away. So may they rest in peace. God bless them. But he met both of his wives. My dad was a professional gambler, right? It's no secret. I've said that many a times here. So my dad met both of his wives in a gambling room. And he's like, that's not because I feel very comfortable in a gambling room. I got a lot of power in a gambling room. And that's where I happened to meet both of my wives. Not by design, not, maybe planning policy might have factored in there for him in some way where he might have, maybe whatever. There you go. You feel very comfortable at home. It'd be a great place to do it, but you got to make it look kick butt. Like when they walk in, I'd want them to go, "Ooh, wow, this place is really done up well." Not walk in and say, "Hey, this looks like, grandma's place," if you know what I mean. I don't. You know what? Test it, but I'm thinking it looking pretty cool and done up. So Road Dog, there's that one. Look, cognitive biases, scarcity bias is got to be maybe the first, like scarcity bias, huge. People just think they give up their long-term goals because they feel that there's not enough time, energy, and money available for them to accomplish them, right? You place a higher value on that which is scarce than that which is available is also part of a frame. Like you'll always overvalue a diamond versus a rock, right? And just a diamond is far more scarce. You say, yeah, but you could do more with a diamond, but diamond rings and whatnot. But reality is, you really look at it, that's not necessarily, you know what I mean? It's just diamonds are more scarce, so they're overvalued. Or Charlie Munger says that you overvalue that which is immediately available. That's why you keep ending up at McDonald's. So scarcity bias. Rhoda, I want to throw this back, but maybe another one that's coming to mind is emotional emotional reasoning. Again, hopefully you can just tell by the name, like the first word, emotional. Is this a good one? Right? Brutal. It's brutal for critical thinking, which is necessary for high level business decisions. Again, Charlie Munger and actually Warren Buffett specifically will tell you he doesn't get jacked up and then make business decisions. He gets very methodical, very he slows down, not speeds up. That would be a little bit different than the way that Tony Robbins would describe it. But I think if you push Tony Robbins, he'd tell you that, look, high level capital allocation decisions and incentive decisions for your staff and high level business decisions should not be made fired right up. Maybe the goal should be set and the vision should be created while you're fired up. But you ever notice that you get really bad, like at midnight, you think of an idea like, oh my gosh, and then you wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning, you're like, that's the stupidest idea ever. Like, that's never going to work, right? That's kind of a little bit of that, you know, creeping in, or like, and just on like like you feel bad, so you feel like you must have done something wrong, or a spouse will feel jealous and then assume that the other spouse must be cheating on me, and then what do? They look on the phone and they pretty much start making stuff up that really isn't there, like that kind of stuff. Have you ever seen that dynamic? Like you text, like a high school kid texts his girlfriend or his wannabe girlfriend after school, and she doesn't get back to him for like 4 hours. And he's like, oh my God, she doesn't like me. She's out with another guy. She's doing this, she's doing that. And then she forgot her phone at home, right? But like emotional reasoning will take you to a very ugly place. In like as business coaches, you put an offer out there, you ask, you want to close somebody or you need to set up a meeting, and then they don't reply straight away, and then you automatically go to, oh my gosh, it's a disaster. You got to be a higher level. You know what I mean? You got to be thinking at a higher level, thinking a little bit slower, acting a little bit slower than that one. Road Dog. Look, so there's one I don't. It's Jevons effect. I can't remember the name of it. Jevons, something like that. But it's a rebound effect, or it might be referred to as rebounding, something to that. But this will be the last one, Road Dog, right? But like technology increases efficiency of the resource, but then paradoxically, it increases the same resources, that same resources consumption due to increasing demand, right? Like, so back in the day, fuel efficiency improved your car, made driving cheaper. Then people went and bought bigger cars with the savings, right? There's like combustion engines solve the environmental issue with horse manure. People don't realize this. Horse manure used to be a huge problem. That's one of the problems they were solving, when Ford invented the car, right? But it created an air pollution, like it became an air pollution problem, right? Because again, everybody was driving the damn cars so much. Look, in business, more to the point, let's go, you said granular, like things like email makes your business more efficient, your communication more efficient, but then you use it all bloody day and you communicate 100 times, at least 10 times, but 100 times more than necessary, right? Your cell phone makes it so much easier for you to communicate, but you end up with using it so much that it's literally exhausting, right? So social media, need I say that one, right? Like it allows you to do really powerful things, Facebook and whatnot, but if you're using it so much that it eats the efficiency, you're really not getting anywhere. So Road Dog, that's the law of triviality should also be said there, but we've talked about this in the past. I've written about it on emails, blogs, etc. But law of triviality is just that if something is trivial and then something is complex, your coaching client will go to trivial. Okay, so this is the example I used. Is your school will work the amount of time that your school, or the high school, the resources they allocated to put together in the yearbook would make your eyes water, but they never updated the curriculum, right? Which would be a better idea. What was the big rock? Pretty obvious, right? The curriculum's 10 years old and just a joke. Or at the government, they've got the local bike path or the local park, and they're all spending time and resources and energy and focus on that. And it's the logjam that really, the planning of sorting out the logjam from the hill down to the school, specifically at 8 o'clock when kids are starting school. But it's complex versus trivial, and they go to trivial. So, so Road Dog, those, there's so like cognitive biases. There's so many of them, and I do get, it's a bit of a funny worded. The way look, I get it. It comes across funny, but I got to tell you, it's good to know that these types of things are monopolizing your coaching clients, mind and whatnot, and decision making, because it's like, how did they get in this stupid position, right? Like, how did they get here? Why are they doing this? Why are they doing that? Why are they not doing that? And they've got these, memory and learning and all these challenges from the past stuck in their subconscious mind and not realizing it. So there you go, Road Dog. What do you think, Shoots?
Well, it's funny because you say cognitive bias. So let's go into this next question with that frame of what's the cognitive bias of the person asking this question. And the question is, can you make cold outreach work for business coaches looking to get clients? Like, if you like, just like right there, there's a bias assuming that somehow actually going out and talking to people that don't know you yet isn't going to work. So that's an interesting bias right there, wouldn't you say? But so yeah, why don't you expand on that a little bit? Like, obviously, you could go into cognitive bias, but more importantly, can you just answer the actual question, which is cold outreach? Like, does that still work?
Guys, that's Road Dog telling me don't take forever shoots. Look, if you are three things: frame, okay. If you plan to make money, learn to generate leads. If you plan to look successful and kind of, get your picture with the car with the doors up, learn to convert high-end coaching clients. But if your plan is to build a career and never worry about money or clients ever again, learn to get results for your high-end coaching client. And I know it sounds obvious, but outside of our little community where we really harp on this, we just ran a program on how to read financial statements. The response was literally lights out. If you're listening to this and you're our client, you need to get a hold of these recordings, most definitely. We opened up one of our clients, Bob, got 35 years as an accountant, and he pretty unsolicited just raised his hand, just, hey. And he just said, guys, all I can say, 35 years as an accountant, and I just wish I would have met you guys, or I wish I would have got this information 30 years ago. And he wasn't talking about so much on behalf of him, but on behalf of his clients who he serviced for so long, right? But anyway, so you really want to help people at the highest level. Again, sounds obvious, but like part of the course and what we're talking about is if you're building a big company without high profit margins, it makes your coaching clients vulnerable, right? So like translation is that I advise against it, because I dare say you're not doing all of this. You're not becoming a business coach to give back and have fun and really, positively affect the community and the business community, to place good people with good businesses in harm's way accidentally. Think about that, right? So you gotta have one eye on margin as you're growing these guys. The road to hell is paved with, the best of intentions or good intentions, right? Anyway, so outreach, yes, look, you absolutely can. So this is what you should do. Look, you make a list of 100 ideal clients, right? Like unlike the Sydney Opera House, planning policy, do the planning first and the research required, which people tend to not do, right? It's hard and not very short-term rewarding. It's broccoli versus chocolate. So therefore, they're not doing it. But number one, make a list of 100 local ideal clients. Number two, send them a letter, right? Number three, send them an email that says, did you get my letter? And then the next one would be like, send them a Facebook message, say, did you get my letter? And then send them a LinkedIn message, did you get my letter? And then send them a text, did you get my letter? And then you call them, relaxed but commanding approach, calling to make sure, guess what? Did you get my letter, right? And when they don't answer, and assume that they won't, have a killer voicemail script ready. And, you or your staff member that's calling on your behalf, did you get the letter, right? And the question, will you take the time to create that killer voicemail message to leave them, right? Like, again, delayed gratification, working on your business instead of in it, unlike the Sydney Opera House example. What I mean is, are you going to make up the voicemail while they're on the phone, or are you going to be reading from a piece of paper that's sitting in front of you because you were ready, because you built the plans for your golf course before you started digging, you built the plans for your house before you put the foundation down and found out it was too small, right? And then, by the way, if you want to get aggressive, Road Dog, like, just circle back, right? And a letter to ask if they got your voicemail about the letter, and then an email to ask if they got the voicemail about the letter, and then a Facebook message to say, did you get my voicemail about the letter? And then a LinkedIn message, did you get the voicemail about the letter? And then a text, the same thing, right? At this stage, they're either going to take a restraining order out against you, or they're going to read your damn letter, right? And imagine, though, you got to assume that letter, like, that letter is going to say your new profit acceleration simulator will find you $100,000 in 45 minutes without you spending an extra dollar on marketing or advertising. And I have profit acceleration software with 497 million weighted algorithmic sequences to back it all up, right? The goal here, we talked about it a million times and we'll continue to, the goal is curiosity. They want to know what the hell this letter's all about. They want to know what the heck this $100,000 in 45 minutes without spending a dollar on marketing or advertising. They're going to say, huh? Like, they're going to get, they're going to get curious, right? And other things to consider too, like, your correspondence needs to have a compelling message. So you use $100,000 in 45 minutes or whatever it is that you do, right? But don't say the word coach in any of the correspondence. Too difficult here to go too in depth on it. But marketing is about entering the conversation, going on inside their head. And I don't need to meet the person that got your letter and your voicemail and your Facebook message and your text about the letter to know that they didn't wake up this morning and say, gee, what I really need is a cold outreach from a coach to help me grow my business. That's not what they're thinking. They're looking for solutions to problems within their company, right? So, and then start at a small scale and test, modify the approach as you move along. If you plan to hire someone, you'll need to have enough price point for everyone to get paid, right? So it's in margin, margin, margin. One of the things people don't realize about having low prices is you make no room for others to make money within, as like a middleman. So therefore you can never hire a salesperson, right? Like, so as a framework, think a third for the product, a third for the salesperson, a third for the business owner, right? So, with a proper business model, you could give 100% of the upfront profit away and still make money on the back end, right? So let's say you were a $2,000 a month business coach, and let's say that $500 was your hard costs. What I'm saying is you could give $1,500. Wow, that would be, but you could give $1,500 if 1,500 was your profit of that first sale to your salesperson to get it done, and then you'd make 2,000. You'd make nothing in month one, but month 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, you're 2, 4, 6, 8. You're making $22,000 a year with that coaching client, right? So, but let's say you had $1,000. Again, just think $1,000 product, 333, 333 for the product, 333 for the salesperson, 333 for the business owner, right? If it's 2K, it would be 666. 666 for the product, 666 for the, probably a bad number to use. Let's use 667, right? 667 for the product, 667 for the salesperson, and 667 for the business owner. So, and no doubt 10K, you could work out that that's $3,333. So there you go. But Road Dog, consistency is going to be absolutely key here, right? But, like, simple numbers look like this. If you get 10 clients at $2,000 a month, that's 240 grand a year, right? You get 20 clients at $2,000 a month, that's 480 grand a year. And depending upon business model, you'd be keeping 300 grand. That being said, as I say this, it's way, way, way harder to get 20 clients at $2,000 a month than it probably sounds to somebody who's reasonably sharp in sales. But that being said, it's not it's not the hardest thing in the world either. If you're totally committed and you have 25% of your calendar for generating leads and speaking to new prospects and like kind of rustling up the the floor of the ocean. I'm picturing the sand on the beach and just so, what I mean. You gotta ruffle some feathers. You gotta go and talk to some people, speak to some new people. You gotta put yourself out there a bit. You gotta push. So if you do that, again, 20 clients, $2,000 a month, 480 grand. I mean, it's zillion% possible. So Road Dog and I, we did a live event. We got 100% conversion at one event, right? What we're not telling, what part of the story is, there was only 12, I can't remember Road does, 12 people in the room, and there were 7 buying units, but 7 high-end coaching clients, bingo, bango, bongo, one event. If you did one of those every 2 weeks, but that sounds easy, it's really hard to fill those things. Could you get yourself 20 clients at $2,000 a month? And you'd either do it or you'd have to stop doing the events, because if you kept doing the events, you'd automatically get the clients because everybody wants to deal with you when you're the person at the front of the room. It's just the way it is, assuming you're doing a bang up job. So there you go, Road Dog. Answer is absolutely, but you just gotta have a bit of a frame, and you gotta go to people with something compelling, and you just gotta not give up. So that's my answer, bud. What do you think?
Interesting. You're talking about the event and how you have to stop it. You don't have to stop doing it. Maybe just do that as a group. You charge people to actually show up now. Now that you've got a wait list, you charge them $100 a month to join you, whatever, once every other week. How's that?
Yeah. But sorry, Road Dog. What I meant is you'd have to like if you kept doing them, you couldn't not get your 20 clients at $2
No,
grand a month. That's what I
100%.
meant. You know what
But
I mean?
that's
Like
what I'm
you'd have
saying
to.
though. Now what you're building is
Not
you're building in a bit of a group platform. I'm just trying to make you more money here.
Yeah.
You see what I'm doing
There
here?
you go. Shoot. Well done. Well done. Co-host of
There
the
it
year,
is.
Shoots. Gold star.
All right. That's it. We're done. Close us out, my friend. What's one thing? Pick one thing that's not cognitive bias based. That somebody, well, maybe it is. Maybe it is. What's the one thing out of today's episode that they, a coach can take into their practice today?
The one that I think so planning, you know what I mean? Like Sydney Opera House took 10 years and $100 million or whatever it was more than necessary to get, and look the story up. It's a famous story. It's absolutely happened. Right. So wherever you're at, you're listening to this, stop, pen, paper, internet in front of you. I say pen, paper, because I think there's a lot of power in that versus, notes and iPhones and tablets, but I'll leave that up to you. But I would grab pen, piece of paper, and write down who are the 100 people locally that you are going to go and help, right? And then who are they? Go to the Chamber of Commerce website, go to the BNI website, go to the sponsors at the golf club, go to the sponsors at the yacht club, all online. You won't have to leave your bedroom. You won't have to leave your home office to do all of this. And set up, look, 100 people. And what do they say again? Like get 100 people written down. Now do your homework to get the name of the owner. Maybe do like a mystery shopping kind of call. Get the name of the owner through and a use of LinkedIn and Facebook. You could find out the name of the owner very quickly. Will you is the question, right? Hopefully you will. And then, yeah, like send them a letter and then send them an email. Did you get the letter? Send them a Facebook message. Did you get the letter? Send them a text. Did you get the letter? Send them a LinkedIn message. Did you get the letter? Call them and say, did you get the letter? And they don't answer, leave a voicemail to say, did you get the letter? And then circle it all back. You know what I mean? And I don't know, think about if somebody pursued you that aggressively, like what it would really say to you is that, wow, I think this person can really help. You know what I mean? Like they got some confidence. They got some wherewithal. This isn't the person that's going to give up on, their business goals and my business goals and let me slip through the cracks. This is somebody that's really going to ride me. I wish I had this person's consistency. Right. So I think that, Road Dog, it's the planning policy and just understanding. Sometimes things take a little bit longer than ideal, but don't let that, get in the way. So there you go, Road Dog. That's going to be the one thing. Shoots. What do you think?
Well, I'm going to add my one thing because, one thing and
Yes.
one thing is two things, and really two things ain't that much. So how's that? Like they can do two things, can't they? Can they do two things?
Nice.
So,
Nice. You've been waiting for that.
Here's my one thing. My one thing is I don't know. This is just me lately. Carl, you've seen me step back and just grow a ton over the past not even 12 months. Like the evolution has been insane for me.
Absolutely.
But 1 year, just we all love to think short term. Just 12 months. Just 12 months. Plan 24 events. That's it. 24. Like what's 24 events? It's nothing. Just plan 2 events a month. Do one virtual if you want. I don't care. But just plan 24 events, go out and that's it. Just commit to it for 12 months. I guarantee you your coaching business will be in a completely different world 12 months from now. That's it. And take Carl's strategy of the 100 people, invite them consistently month after month. Did you get the letter? Did you get the letter? What's the letter about? I want to invite you to this event because I think there's going to be so much value there for you. Come to my event month after month after month. That's it. What do you think?
And I agree. I hope guys pick up what Road Dog just put down, like do it. But the question is, so it comes back to planning policy, right? And it's just things take longer than you assume, right? So the problem is that, like what people do, I've said this again in the past and I'll say it forever. It's just the people who don't make it in coaching are the ones who are deciding if it's going to work. Like in 90 days, are you deciding how much more work it's going to take? Or are you deciding whether you're going to keep going? And in 90 days, if you're deciding whether you're going to keep going, you failed before you even started. Like conversation over, catch you later. It's just, it's not So you're underestimating how long it's going to take. So unfortunately, it's going to take you a little bit of time. But if you can pull it off and you get again, let's just go 10 clients at $2,000. That's 240 grand a year. And yes, you will lose some clients and have to fill them up. But when you got the 10 and you lose 2, you just need 2. You don't need the 8 are still there. And then you'll lose another 2. But you just got to get 2, right? You just got to maintain that 10 and hopefully, 20. And you'll be semi-retired for the rest of your life. It's just not that challenging. Once you get good at this, which will take some time, planning policy, you assume it's going to be quicker than it is. It takes some time to become really, really seasoned at coaching. But, sorry, but what else can I do, right? Like we can't inject you with a steroid that all of a sudden gives you this knowledge and gives you this experience. You just got to go and live it, right? And just totally go all in. But you will be semi-retired for the rest of your life. Remember, when you retire, people optimize. We talked about that, I don't know, probably like a year ago, but Road Dogg and I talked about it. And it was just like, I had this, I was actually skiing and I was like, God, like I'm optimizing for the wrong stuff in a lot of ways. You know what I mean? Like I was skiing and I just wanted to be skiing and I was like, freaking hell. You know what I mean? Like I'm busier than I've ever been. And I was like, I got to optimize for a great life and I got to help others and I got to direct others to optimize for a great life. Right. Well, if you were like, so what is a great life? You want to be wealthy in retirement, right? Like, don't worry about having to work today and tomorrow and next week and for the next 12 months, or maybe it's the next 2 years. You don't want to have a birthday with a 0 or a 5 that, in 5, 10, 15, 20 years and be starting again. You know what I mean? Go all in and optimize for semi-retirement is kind of what I'm getting at, is that you could work out all this stuff and do these events that Road Dogg's talking about and get these 10 clients at $2,000 a month at 240 grand and net a solid 180,000. You'd never have to spend 5 cents of your retirement. You could own 2 houses, 3 houses outright, rent them out for $2,000 each. That would be $6,000 a month of income for the rest. So you want to retire with income, not net worth. Right? You want to retire with income, not net worth. Because what if those 3 houses are worth $3 million, but all of a sudden 2008 happens or something weird happens we don't know, and they go from worth 3 million to 1.5 overnight? Not good, right? So what won't do that is that, like, when you have income, so those 3 houses that you were renting out for $2,000 each, that's retiring with income, which is a million times better idea. But what I'm getting at, optimize for that. So optimize to, find a way to get 10 clients and never one less for any extended period of time. And you're off to the races. So I hope that that's of value. And there you go, Road Dogg. Hope we're helping these folks. So that's what I got for today, bud.
I love that. It's all about, even at the 90-day, it's no different than the, I'm going to buy this house with the intent to sell it. Like, are you even committed? Like, are you even committed? 90 days, you're already 1 foot out the door, right? So anywho, we'll leave it at that because we could harp on about this for the next 3 hours. So we'll close it out there. So thanks for tuning in to another episode of Business Coaching Secrets with the man on top of the hill, the man that rides the fat tire bike, King Karl. I'm not sure if there's more to that story there. I can't wait to dig into that. And if you're not on the inside and getting access to the pre-show, or you're getting Karl's daily emails, you just want more information on the group coaching software as an example, go to focus.com and subscribe today and get a hold of Karl that way. And if you enjoyed the podcast, please share it, obviously, and also please leave a review, as we know that all the streaming services give a ridiculous amount of weight towards reviews, and we'd love to rise up the charts. And that is it for another week, everybody. Remember, progress equals happiness. See you on the next episode.
Karl Bryan built Profit Acceleration Software 2.0 to train business coaches how to find any small business owner more than $100,000 in 45 minutes without them spending an extra dollar on marketing or advertising. This becomes a business coach's superpower. So as a business coach, you'll never again have to worry about working with business owners that can't afford your high-end coaching fees. Check us out at focused.com.